What's up guys, welcome to another very exciting tutorial. In this tutorial you will learn how to create this dynamic 3D slideshow. Even if you're just getting started, this is a great tutorial. It has lots of tips and tricks to swap images regardless of the aspect ratio. So let's get started. As you can see, there are multiple images with different aspect ratios. So let's drag this in and let's drop this to this folder and name it. Let's bring in these two video clips, which are two light leaks, and drag one image to a new comp and make sure this layer is not selected. Double click the rectangle tool and set the track matte. If you cannot find, press this button to find the track matte. Now you can adjust the rounded corners from here or on this side here. I'll give 20%. Next, let's give it a nice border or stroke, layer style stroke. Change it to inside, change the color, and adjust the size. And let's create a new comp. Let's rename it by 1800 final comp. Let's drag these two to the left to take it out of this folder. And let's bring in the image file, scale it down. Now this is very important, guys, this part. Before we used to duplicate the images to swap this, you can drag it, scale it down, or just hold Alt and just change it like that. Let's do that. Control D another one, and you have to go through this so many times. So it's messy pre-comps inside the comps, and it's really messy process. So instead of doing that, we will use the essential graphics panel, which is really handy. And let's drag in this image to the essential graphics panel, and now you will see in this comp the essential properties. Control D to duplicate it, and let's bring in one image, drop it to on top of that icon. You can see it changed the picture, but there is a problem. It will not recognize the aspect ratio if you don't change these settings, what I'm about to show you. So this, you can see the size is different. Different images have different dimensions or aspect ratio. You have to change this scale to fit instead of scale to fill. As you can see, all the pictures has different dimensions, but it didn't reflect because we didn't change the default scaling. So you have to change this to scale to fit, not fill. Default is fill. Now you can see it takes the actual aspect ratio because we changed that default scaling. Now let's scale it down. Let me show you another picture, different aspect ratio. Let's duplicate this, bring it in the middle, go to essential graphics panel, and let's drag in this wide angle landscape one. So you can see if we change it to fill, it will scale it and will have the same aspect ratio as the original image. But if you change to fit, it will change its original aspect ratio, which is really handy. So let's do another one. Control D, duplicate, and drag it in the middle. Let's drag in this portrait. As you can see, because we set it to scale to fit, it changes the dimensions. It's so handy. Now we have 4 images. Let's make it 100%. Let's also close this panel. Next, let's create a new layer, solid, call it BG. Bring it to the bottom and go to Effect, Generate, Gradient Ramp. Choose whatever color you like. I will go for a nice blue color. Swap the colors, change it to radial ramp. Adjust the points. Next, turn on these 3D switches except for the background there. Go to Active Camera, layer new, camera, new null object, make it 3D, and parent the camera to the null object. Next, let's go and adjust these images. Let's first make 2 views. That way it will be easy for us to drag these handles. The left side is the top view, and drag this picture closer to the camera, and drag this one, push it into the Z space, and adjust the positions just like this. Now you can duplicate the images. Let's duplicate one and move it this side, push it Z space and X. It's about positioning the images into a nice frame. Move it just like that, and this one maybe here. Duplicate it and bring it somewhere around here. Now I'm going to fast forward this part. Now you just need to duplicate and adjust the position, Z and Y, X, 3 dimensions. Next, let's go ahead and change these images, swap the images, drag it on top of that icon, and let's go to the other one. And let's also, you can swap the images from the right side here. You can simply select that comp and then drag the image on the right side here like this. Change this one too, and that's the last one, I think. Adjust the position a little bit here. So now all the images are all swapped. Let's position this, and now it's time to add depth of field. Let's go to the camera options, turn on the depth of field, adjust the aperture to 300, and let's adjust the focus distance. We're going to focus into this middle picture here, the portrait. Let's zoom in, and I think this is just about right. So that's the depth of field. Maybe take it down to 250. That looks good. Let's create a position keyframe on the null, which is connected to the camera. Actually, let's give it a wiggle first. It will kind of wiggle around. Maybe it's too much. Let's change it to 20. That looks good. Now let's create a keyframe on the position. Drag it forward, zoom in, maybe right about here. Adjust the Z position. Make sure the time indicator is in the beginning. Maybe it's too fast. Let's drag this a little bit far. It looks okay to me. Let's select both keyframes and hit F9. Go to graph editor and adjust the curve. Something like this. Let's make a quick ramp preview. That is looking okay. Let's create another keyframe right about here. And let's drag, adjust the Z position. Stop right in the focus zone. Let's use this to adjust the position. instead of using the handle. Sometimes it's really fast. That is looking good. Now let's create a keyframe here, go a little bit forward, and adjust the position. Now you can see this picture is kind of flying very close to the camera. Let's pull back and we'll focus into this portrait picture. It's looking okay, but you can see there's a picture kind of cutting through the camera. So the curve must look like this, something like this. Now let's create another keyframe right around here, and let's copy this, Control C, Control V, and drag this one closer. Let's see, maybe it's too fast. Let's drag these 2, 3 keyframes maybe right around here. Let's move the time indicator maybe right around here, and let's change the position, Y position. Maybe let's go up. And let's duplicate this, Control D, and bring it, push it into the Z space. Bring it up, center it, and let's adjust the camera position. Stop right around here where the focus is sharp. Adjust this X and Y. Now as you can see, there is an image that is, the camera is going through the image. Let's find the image, and I think this one, Control Shift D, that area, again Control Shift D, and delete that area where the camera goes through that image. That way it won't have that effect. Let's do a quick preview. Now these areas are kind of empty. We will fill it by duplicating the images. Let's do that now. Let's Control D and drag it to the view of the camera. And I will fast forward this part. Yes, we will have to duplicate all the images like this and bring it into the view of the camera. As you can see, it's so handy when we have 2 views where I can just drag it quickly by using the handles. Just like before, we are going to swap all the images using the Essential Graphics panel. Now this is how it looks. Don't worry guys, just duplicate as many as you want and position them into the frame, and it is so easy right now with the Essential Graphics panel. It used to be very difficult. We have to duplicate all these media columns and make sure the nested compositions are duplicated too. They used to have, I think they still have one effect or something script. It's a very handy tool. It's called True Comp Duplicator or something. It does a great job, but since we have Essential Graphics panel, I don't think we need anything. So just swap the images with using Essential Graphics panel. Now let's add these 2 light leaks on top of everything. Change this blend mode to screen. This is not a real nice light leaks. I just found this one on my computer. But you guys can find something nice and add some dust particles and things like that. This is how it looks. I think it is looking really nice. Let's get rid of these 2 views and let's add time remapping. Time remapping. Alt click and loop out. And drag this and also copy this, Control C, Control V to the next light leak layer. Now it will loop out. I think this is looking really nice. Once you add the motion blur and some dust particles and color correction will look really nice. Let's change the render to quarter. Maybe this image is kind of weird. Let's adjust the keyframe. So this image, we need to find that image and trim that area. I think this is the image. Let's go to the area where it's blocking, Control Shift D. Go forward and again Control Shift D and delete the area that is blocking. Let's make a quick RAM preview. Now let's turn on all the motion blur for all the images. This motion blur will add really nice effect to the movement, as you can see. That is still not good, so we need to change this keyframe. Let's delete this keyframe and select this, Control C, Control V. Now it will stay in the same area. Let's adjust this position. Now again, we need to change this one, Control C, Control V, where is the same keyframe there. Now this is looking better, but this image is still kind of, camera is going through that, as you can see. Now let's go to that image and cut it. There you go. That part is now clean. Now turn on all the motion blur for all the images. Quick RAM preview. The motion blur will give really nice effect to this. I think it is looking really nice. Nice movements. With the motion blur, it kind of gives a whole new look. And this is nice. Let's add a title to the end. Let's review the keyframes on this null there. Maybe press UU to reveal the keyframes. Now let's create a keyframe here and drag it on the x-axis like that. Now all the pictures are going to go left. Let's create a text. Call it NB Studio. Resize it. Make it 3D. Now it's gone into the universe. We cannot even find it. How do we find it? So let's turn off the 3D switch again. Right around here, let's maybe not this picture. Let's right around here. Let's select this picture and go P, Control C, the position, Control V. Make sure 3D switch is turned on. Again, Control V. Now there you have the text right in front of the camera. Let's adjust the focus area, position it to the focus area. Now hit S and scale it down, move it up. Let's go to the end and center it. That is looking good. Now drag it here. Let's turn on the motion blur. And that's pretty much it for this tutorial, guys. I hope you guys find this tutorial helpful and you have learned how to use the Essential Graphics panel to swap the images very easily. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you have any questions. I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next one.